Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second module of Crystal Eye. I am Samir. I am working as a business development manager. I am taking care of the Australia South as a region and India as a region. I have been accompanied with my colleague Ben, who is a product manager for a Crystal Eye module. Just to introduce you with a Crystal Eye is a technology that has been developed by Red Piranha, and it has got a threat detection and incident response capability, declarative authorization services, and the secure edge. And it has been combined with the people, process, and technologies, which offers outcomes to the customers. A brief about us: we have been founded in 2015. We are a Australian sovereign cybersecurity vendor it has been founded by Adam Bennett. He has founded the organization with a frustration that the customers are having a multiple cybersecurity tools and capabilities, but they are not able to protect themselves from the cyber attacks. Hence, we have developed a Crystal Eye, which is a most comprehensive threat management solution. We have got a many accreditation, partnership, and certification. We are a CREST accredited organization. We have got a ISO 9001 and ISO 27001, which talks about the quality of our services as well as our technology. We are a member of a Cyber Defense Australia, and we are one of the two companies who are a part of a Cyber Threat Alliance. We offer a SOC as a service. We have got 14 POPs to follow around the sun model. Our SOC is capable of offering a threat intelligence, incident response, and the DFIR capability. Now I will hand it over to my colleague Ben to take it further.
Thanks very much, Samir. Yes, my name's Ben Aylett. I'm the product manager for Red Piranha. And just another quick overview. We understand that cybersecurity is not like a point solution where you drop a firewall into a network and you're done and dusted. It's got to be approached from a business risk perspective, and it is an ongoing journey. So it is a cyclical journey, and it's got many stages to it. As we see here with this slide, we've got our 7 pillars that form our holistic cybersecurity approach. I'm not going to go into it because we have a lot to cover, and we'll just jump straight in. Now, before we actually get into the fun part, we're going to make sure we've got our Crystal Eye Essentials Module 1 completed. If you haven't completed it, I highly recommend you come back here later to view the recording on demand and go and do Crystal Eye Essentials Module 1. That's available on demand in the training portal. You also need to have your main Orchestrate account or your store account. This was created and used in Crystal Essentials Module 1, and if available, you can also play with your own staff Orchestrate account. So this is that staff member account that would have been created in Crystal Essentials Module 1 as we played with the system. Now, just a brief reminder on why we're here today. This is Crystal Essentials Module 2. This is a core component of your Red Piranha certification for technical and sales staff. We also have our monthly webinar series. This is obviously it's a monthly webinar series where we present a few technical deep dives into certain features and functions and some concepts around cybersecurity. So this is available, of course, free of charge on YouTube, where you can go and view at your leisure. And then we've got our Crystal Eye Certified Engineer. This is targeted at your engineering or technical staff that need to know the ins and outs of the Crystal Eye system. So this is going to be released soon as we have Crystal Eye 5.5. So Crystal Eye OS 5.5, when that's released, we'll be able to release the training for this Crystal Eye Certified Engineer certification. The course for Crystal Eye Certified Engineer takes roughly 6 to 8 hours. It goes really in depth with some of the features. What we're going to be covering in this session is we'll be reviewing the deployment modes. We'll have a recap of Crystal Eye Essentials 1, and then we'll go through the Crystal Eye First Run Wizard. So this is basically the out-of-the-box experience as you unpack and get your first Crystal Eye appliance set up for the very first time. After that, we'll go and do a guided tour and have a look at some of the features, and we'll explore that together. We'll again revisit the requirements for what you need to fill to get support on Crystal Eye and Orchestrate. We'll also talk about the beta program, what that means, how you can access it, and we'll also, of course, cover our next steps and the questions and answers at the end of the session. If you do have any questions during the session, feel free to put them in the chat in the right-hand side of the browser right now, and we'll be happy to answer them at the end of the session. Now, as I mentioned in Crystal Essentials Module 1, the Crystal appliance is actually quite flexible with the way it can be deployed. It can be deployed inline, NSM, or out of band. So inline is your typical gateway mode. It's the simplest deployment, and it allows the use of all features to include filtering of the network traffic. Inline NSM, this is where you can obviously, as the name says, it's put in inline, and you can actually turn the filtering on and off as needed, or turn features on and off as needed. This allows you to gradually deploy the features for Crystal and eventually phase out older equipment that's no longer suiting the purpose. And then we've got out-of-band NSM, where the Crystal appliance just sits to one side, monitors network traffic, doesn't interfere with it at all. So it is non-intrusive monitoring, and has been quite useful for when you just want to be able to do the incident response component and monitoring component of Crystal deployments. Just a quick reminder, we build our Crystal appliances to order. So as you order it, we build it. So we are not left with stale stock sitting on shelves for years before it's actually let out. So you are getting access to the latest technology that we have available. We also have constant software updates. So we do follow a monthly software update cadence. Typically, the second week of the month, we have an update to the supported versions of software. When these versions of software reach end of life, we only support like very, very critical updates, but we do encourage everyone to take advantage of the access to free field upgrades for Crystal OS. We'll be doing our first run registration, yes. Power requirements. So we do require that appliances are protected with a UPS. And then when you shut down and restart your appliance, please use the user interface, the GUI, instead of leaning on the power button or yanking the power out of the back. These are complex appliances with large databases running at all the time. So if you were to interrupt power in the middle of a write, you can be guaranteed that there's going to be some sort of a problem with the database, which will then mean problems for everyone. Try to keep LAN 1 on your appliance as your management port. This is going to make life easier. So if you ever have a configuration muck-up and you need to get access to the appliance and you've forgotten what network interface you set, you can always go back to LAN 1 and go to crystalli.lan:81 or 10.10.1.1:81 with your web browser to get access again. And of course, NFR versus retail. If you purchase an appliance that is with an NFR license that is not intended for production deployment, and the license is only there to help you get to understand how the Crystal appliance works. The retail comes with all the bells and whistles and the stuff you need to protect your environment. And there we go, just a quick review of what we've already seen in Crystal Essentials Module 1, WAN, LAN, and power. That is all you need. You do not need to plug in a mouse, keyboard, or monitor. Okay, now the fun stuff. Now you all would have received URLs, and I'm going to start sharing my screen. And it will be that one. Okay, now can everyone see my screen? Yep, good, thank you. All right, so you would have received a URL. If you're like me, you would have clicked on it right away and you'd be faced with this. This is not unusual, this is all expected. So we say advanced, continue. And now we've got our login. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you the credentials in chat. So the username is admin, which is lowercase. Password is right there in chat. Ray's beaten me to it. Yeah, just make sure admin lowercase, the username is actually case sensitive. So you put in the username and password. I'm not going to say that for now because we will be changing the password. right? And it's pretty straightforward. So getting your first time registration done is really just clicking next over and over again, but we'll go through it together step by step if you don't mind. So click on next. So first thing we do, change the password. Best practices. So make sure, as always, a unique password and it's complex enough. So characters, numbers, and so on. We do have an issue with the pound character inside passwords at this point. We are working on a fix at the moment, so please avoid the pound character or the hash. Right, once you've done that, say never, go away. No. All right. Okay, so now we just need to look at our interfaces. There's nothing really to change here. In most cases, you can just leave it as it is. If your environment is special and you need to set something like a static IP address for your WAN interface, and you can't use DHCP, then this is the time to change it. But for now, let's please leave it as it is, because if you change it, you won't have access to the appliance. Next step is to do our DNS lookup, which in most cases will succeed, because if things fail, it's usually DNS. Now the fun stuff, registration. You will need your Orchestrate username and password in order to register this. Now what I've done is I have set up I've got my accounts set up from Crystal Essentials Module 1, where I've got the MSP, I've got the end user, and I've also got an engineer account. So what I'm going to do here, I want to register this for my end user. So that is Carl Stummer. You might remember from Crystal Essentials Module 1, but the email account of the MSP is m.sb821@gmail.com. Right, and of course you use your own accounts in this case because you don't know the passwords and I'm not telling you. All right, and then give it a system name. So if we could please, in the system name, say Crystal Essentials 2, and then just whatever name you like. So I'm going to call this one Test MSP because that's the name of the company that's being protected, so to speak. Right, and we now go and register the system. And no, Bitwarden, I don't need you to remember that for me. It may take a little while as it rushes off to Orchestrate to grab the details and verify usernames and passwords. Okay, refreshes. Have a sip of coffee. All right, we go and select our license. So it should be a demo license available for 60 days, and just click on Activate License. Now, for whatever reason, I don't think it's automatically registered to Carl's account. This may be because I don't have a license sitting on Carl's account. That's all right. We'll keep on pushing. All right, and with that registered and activated, we can now scroll to the top again and click on Next. All right, setting time zones. For now, we're just going to click on Next. No need to change time zones. All right, we view our external storage. So you get an idea on the storage that's available. So you can check this against the invoice to make sure everything's all lining up. We, of course, perform these checks beforehand. So we follow the ISO 9001 quality standards quite closely. Okay, SIEM agent. Now, unless you've paid for the gold or platinum SIEM, I recommend we leave it at silver. All this does is it changes the amount of information. Well, it tailors the information that's being sent to our security operations center. So if you were to try and select the platinum MDR, even though you've got a silver SIEM, it's not going to result in additional monitoring. You actually have to get that subscription sorted out with our security operations center first. Okay, contact details. Here we go. Now, primary and secondary contact information. Primary contact information is for the entity being protected. So let's say in this case, we're protecting Carl's business. So it will be Carl Stummer, office number, okay, mobile number, and the other one. The email is carl.stummer821@gmail.com. So person we're protecting, they are the primary contact. Now, if Carl wants to have Emma available to look after the appliance because he's got other things to do, we can just simply add Emma as our secondary contact. Again, the old office number keyboard mash, and that MSB. I've got the name wrong. There we go. Set your preferred method of contact. I'm going to say email in this at this point, and submit. Okay, so we've got our primary and secondary contact information registered, and then we've got just a little idea of the logs being monitored as a part of our SIEM. That's because we're using Silver. So we're going to leave it at Silver and just click on Next. Now the fun part, system configuration. We will select all of the applications because we want to get that done now, not have to do it later. We are kind of short on time, so we'll do that. So you go to System Configuration, select all of the applications. Again, Security Configuration, select all. Network Control, all the things. Now this should hopefully illustrate how we can tailor deployments. So you only install the applications you need. So if you just wanted to get your basic firewall, IDPS, and maybe VPN, you can just select those. So if you don't have any M365 requirements, you can skip that. But I do recommend that we have PickUpSnap installed. That will be needed for responses from our security operations team. And having it installed beforehand is going to save a little bit of time. Reporting, yeah, going to need that. You'll notice that some of these are already installed. These are our core applications and will be installed by default. Once you've got them all selected, you click on Next and you'll be presented with the app review. You can see they're all free. And you can now click on Download and Install. You'll also notice that the EULA is none because all of these applications are covered in the Crystal-I EULA. And yeah, we recommend just once, just go over the EULA just so you can understand where everyone, what everyone expects. So we all understand where we're at. Now it goes on and does the installation of all the applications. Shouldn't take too long. Right, and while you're waiting, if you've got any questions, feel free to put them in chat and we'll be happy to address them at the end of the presentation. If there's anything in particular you'd like to dig into, you can make a request. We'll see if we can get into it during our tour. What I will be doing for sure is I'll be taking us through the installation of WireGuard and making sure that's up and running. Quite powerful. It's actually my preferred VPN now. I've pretty much abandoned SSL VPN altogether. So WireGuard is my weapon of choice right now. Yes, Mohit. So you're saying registration is taking time. I guess it was normal. Is it still having registration proceed? Is that correct, Mohit? Is that where you're still at? In progress, I see. Okay. You may need to make sure that you have a license on your Orchestrate account, Mohit. So Raya may need to assist with that. Let's see. Yeah. Thanks, Raya. So Raya does say that you do have a training license, Mohit. All right, this was going to be a test. We've got our training hardware is actually in our data center. So I thought it was going to be a really good test to see how we do with, what was it? We got just over a dozen appliances all doing download of applications and installations as well. So I imagine somewhere in our data there is a server just screaming its head off. Infrastructure guys in here, so he's, oh, hopefully he's okay. Right. Yeah, it's rare to, sorry, just going back to Mohit, it is rare for us to see registration sort of hang. But yeah, if you could confirm which email you're using for registration, that would be great because we do assign licenses to the Orchestrate accounts, which are then identified through the email. So you need to log in, you need to register your appliance with the email that has the licenses assigned to it. It's actually a bit of a regular, so good to see you again. A few familiar names as well in the list. So hello to all your repeat offenders. And of course, hello to all the new faces as well. Okay. All right. Will do, Mohit. Thanks very much. Yeah, so we are really just waiting on the installation of these applications. And no surprise, they're a little bit slow. So we'll obviously have some logs to go over later on so we can see where the bottleneck is. But as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of apps being installed. So if you look at the progress there, got 106, 109 of about 150 apps being installed. Okay, now it says installation complete. We can now click on next and we click on confirm. And Any second now. Still spinning. There we go. We are now at the system dashboard. Now, the first thing I'll get us to do, we will need to go to, where did I put it? There it is, under security, I think it is. Under compliance, we'll need to go to incident response services, and we need to configure SLA assets and services. This is required for us to get a jump on setting up vulnerability scanning, which I'd like to take us through. So you select configure SLA assets and services, and we put a tick in all the boxes, click on next, and we've got it there. So priority, be fine. So if AV alerts or RDPS alerts, we'll leave them as critical. Click on next, and review the configuration and confirm by clicking on next. All right, and there you go. There's the SLA configuration. So for your records, if it's critical, target response time and acknowledgement time is 1 hour, target resolution time is 4 business hours, and service target 90%. If you're happy with that, click on acknowledge. We can do that for now. All right, that's configured. Now we can go further down compliance controls to vulnerability scanning. So click on that. And here's another test for our hosting hardware. Let's all click on configure vulnerability scanning. That is going to take a little while. So it's going to be doing things like downloading vulnerability databases and so on. So with that out of the way, we can now start doing our little tour of our appliances. So let's start with going to our dashboards and the system dashboard. The system dashboard gives us an overview on the state of the hardware, like namely the interfaces and our process and CPU usage. It also gives us access to our applications. So the app status, you can see we've got web filter and default web filter are both disabled and stopped. Web filter needs to be configured properly before you turn it on. So just flipping it on is not recommended. You've actually got to go and do some proper configuration before you set it loose. Otherwise, you've got things like your antivirus, intrusion detection and protection, and force field and SIEM all running. And if you were to see any that weren't running that you needed to fix, so just for fun, let's go and turn off our intrusion detection and protection together. Intrusion detection, yep, I think I said that right. Gets to be a bit of a blur after a few years. So I'll click on stop. Now, if we ever had it stop, we'll see this show up in our orchestrate dashboard as a little red marker. I'll just quickly flip to that now so we can see an example of what it may look like. All right, so there it is there. All right, it's yeah, still got to update. So these may take a little while to update, but I've logged into my main account here and I can see this appliance. Right, so we got IDPS stopped. You'll get a banner across the top of the screen giving you an alert that IDPS is stopped for whatever reason. You should be looking into it. We want to know when things aren't running. So we can go down to intrusion detection and prevention, intrusion detection and protection, and we can click on start. And 99% of the time it'll just start and we're good to go again. If it doesn't start, we then look at reasons why it's not starting. Could be things like failed rule updates and so on. In which case it's pretty easy to work out. Actually, let's go and do that now. So let's say we've got intrusion detection and protection. It hasn't worked. We click on start and it doesn't start properly. We can go directly to that application by clicking on the link for the name. And you can just do something like check for rule updates. 9 times out of 10, it might be a rule update that wasn't properly or completely downloaded and applied. So we can now force a check for the rule updates. So let's all do that. Now the rule update should be pretty much whatever was installed with. We haven't had any updates since then, obviously, but you can see we got a total of about 73,834 rules. A number are enabled, some are disabled. Okay. Let's go on to, let's go back to the system dashboard. We've had a look at our LAN, WAN, CPU, and so on. We've done our application status, shutdown and restart. You can access it from two locations, the system dashboard and also general settings. But if you need to shut down or restart the appliance for whatever reason, very rare, you can select shutdown, click on select, don't do that. Just pointing out where it is. We can also manage our users, so you can add a user or create a group from this widget here. You've got your disk usage. This is actually going to be undergoing a bit of a review soon. So I'm very excited about that. So it's going to make a lot more sense. And you've got your recent software activity. So you can see when we've installed or updated an application on your appliance. So this will automatically update. Onto the security dashboard. Security dashboard is pretty cool. We've got on the left our banned IP addresses. We've got in the middle a nice graphical representation of attempts to break into our network. And we've also got on the right-hand side some telemetry about our network. Now, below the map, we have access to our alerts. So let's say we want to find something out. Let's see. I've got one here. SQL scans. Now, I know for a fact I'm not running an SQL server on my network, so I don't want to allow any of that traffic to come through. So we can change the rule actions by clicking on Change Rule Actions. Instead of alert, let's reject it and click on Update. And there we go. Rule activity is changed. Simple as that. Now, if you see anything you want to get more information on, so let's say poor reputation IP is an email port. Yeah, not too sure what that's about. So let's click on Escalate. Now, I ask you guys not to click on Submit. It's going to send our poor security operations team into a bit of a spin. They start getting all these weird messages all at the same time. But let's see, would like more information and so on. Yes, just say, I don't know what this is about. Can you provide me with more information, what I should be doing? Should I be concerned? All right, and then you'd normally click Submit, but in this case, we're going to click Close. Okay. Scan summary. We've done our alerts. We move on to the scan summary. This is where we will see things like viruses that have been picked up or malware that's been picked up as it's trying to traverse the perimeter. So they'll show up there. You'll also see potential access to block content as well. So with your web filter, you'll see the alerts there. We got our IDPS statistics down here. So the alerts, top network IPs, network map, which would be pretty much empty right now because it's all virtual, sitting in the cloud somewhere. And you've got your top protocol. So you can start doing a breakdown on traffic based on volume. Threat Hunt dashboard. Threat Hunt dashboard, it is a pretty comprehensive tool. So you've got your summary, you've got your threat dashboard. This is where you can start setting rules and filters based on the alerts that come through, and that can be used to identify things like an indicator of compromise. So a classic example, it would be the 3CX phone compromise, where we were seeing particular traffic coming in and out of networks, and it was attributed to that breach. So you could quite easily set your profiles and actually save it as a template and then retrieve this template so you can do continual threat hunting based on that particular template. So it allows you to focus on a particular set of signatures or conditions. I'm not going to add a name to that one. I'm just going to close that for now. And there's also the export function, which you can export as a CSV. This will allow you to share your filters, and I'll be getting onto the security operations team to see if we can start sharing some filters as well. But these can go all in the forum. So we'll quite happy to share this intel amongst our community. All right, and you've got your group of statistics and so on. All right, threat report. There's nothing in here at the moment, so we haven't exported anything. 365 threat hunting, so you can actually connect this to your Microsoft 365 tenancy and start doing some threat hunting based on activity in the tenancy. Network threat hunting is exactly as it says. It is actually quite in depth. And these are tools that we'd typically be assigning to our security operations team in the case of an incident. AI and escalation report, so it's going to need some time to build up an idea of what would be normal. So AI does actually incorporate a bit of a learning session. And then we've got our active session, so you can actively monitor traffic on the network. Let's look into our system configuration. I'm going to touch on some of the major points here. So we've got our task scheduler. We all know what that's about. Account manager, you've got your accounts. You can connect it to an Active Directory server if you need to. We've also got our account roles under here. So account roles, you can set up your groups. That's all pretty self-explanatory. You've got your users. Again, not hard to work out. Administrators is where things get a little bit different. So you've got your administrators application here where you can go and change policies around the functions that can be accessed on the Crystal appliance. So for example, we've got our admin group, we want to leave that alone. But well, let's say with our report group, we want to configure the way it presents information to people. So if we get user accounts on the Crystal appliance, we put them into a group which only has access to the report group policy. This is where we control what applications they can view. So perfect example is if we wanted to set up like a big screen somewhere in the office with a map showing all those attacks being repelled. And that gives everyone a nice warm fuzzy feeling. So we would be doing something like this. So your dashboard, active session, IDPS alerts. So this is all related to the security dashboard. So it makes it quite easy for them to log in with that account and they'll only have access to that dashboard. Feel free to try it. Set up a user, just call them report or whatever it is, log in with that and see how the interface changes. Okay, backup, pretty self-explanatory, date and time, same. Factory reset, we would recommend that instead of using factory reset to bring it back to like an out-of-the-box experience, we recommend that you do a configuration backup instead. Factory reset does, in some of the older models of Crystal Eye appliances, does have the risk where it may mess up network port mapping. So for this reason, we tend to say to our customers, only use factory reset under the direction of our support team. General settings, pretty straightforward. We've got a theme we may be able to edit in some time in the future. There's no plans for that right now, but you've got your shutdown and restart buttons. And we've also got our partner details. So if you are an MSP or a partner, and you want to be able to put your contact details on a page that may show up when there's things like blocked content or whatever. So you have your customer contacting you directly to have like a web filter rule updated, for example. So you do things like put in your name. So I'll just say Ben, and then keyboard, email, we go Ben. Now, let's say sb21@gmail.com. So yeah, this will be Emma. And you can also choose a logo. So you can put a little logo here. This will brand the interface of the Crystal Eye appliance, as well as, let's see, where I'll put that logo. There somewhere. Nope, can't find it. That's all right. But you'd upload the logo and it'll brand the Crystal Eye interface. It'll also brand the pages that are shown to end users when they're trying to access content that is blocked by the web filter. All right, we're fine with that. Click on update, and there we go. This Crystal appliance is now customized with your contact details, so they know who to contact when they need some help. High availability. Now, high availability allows us to put two Crystal appliances of the same series uh, and have them link, and they will actually share the configuration, and also um, you'll be able to set up like a failover between the two. So they'll share a virtual IP, and that virtual IP is served by both the WAN IPs of each Crystal appliance, and one will be marked as the primary. The other one is marked as secondary. When the primary is not available, or it's not filtering traffic as it should, the secondary will kick in and take over. Now, as you make changes to the configurations of these Crystal appliances, the configuration will actually automatically be copied from the primary to the secondary. So you don't have to go and try and configure one and then the other. It just really simplifies the whole process, which is nice. Hosts and groups. If you've got a large network, you don't want to be identifying endpoints over and over and over again when you make like a new rule or a new IDPS profile or so on. You can actually start um, configuring these in the Crystal appliance, so you can then set up things like your accounting group, your engineering group, sales, and so on. And you can start treating each of them uh, by role, or you can put them in their own separate zones, and you only have to address them once. So you don't have to go and redefine them every single time. So you can set up your IP hosts, you can sort them out by domain, by MAC address, services, and service groups. So it should be pretty straightforward once you've got that sorted out. So there is a lot of uh, work at the start to get things configured, but once it's all set up, that foundation has been put down, day-to-day operations becomes a lot easier. Mail settings, we understand that the Crystal appliance is going to send mail out, so we'll need to have mail settings. It'll use the the Red Piranha mail server, so no need to make any changes there. We have got software updates. Now, software updates by default are automatic, and it will check at around about 2 a.m. Perth time every day for any updates. Now, as we can see, we've got 3 updates waiting. Let's go ahead and update all of those. So just click on update all. So we're going to be forcing the update. It's not going to wait until 2 a.m. to do the update. It's going to take a little time, but it's not going to hold us up. And we can also see the recent software activity. Now, it's recommended if you are having any problems with your Crystal appliance, the first thing you do is you make sure you've got the latest updates installed, because there is a good chance that if you're experiencing some sort of an issue, we've probably got the software update already in the pipeline, or it's waiting there to be installed on your Crystal appliance. So you could solve the problem very quickly just by making sure the updates are installed. System registration, we've gone over this. But if you ever need to retrieve the host key or understand who the system is registered to, or the host name, you'll find it all there. Network control. Now, you've got your certificate manager, so you can actually set up your own certificates, which are used on the Crystal appliance, and then they can be installed on endpoints. So this is very useful for things like content filtering. So you're able to manage it through that. Device management, you've got your network map. This one's going to look pretty bare, understandably, because all we've got is the Crystal appliance. You'll be able to map devices as you go, and this will help you keep track of what's on your network. Very important. Infrastructure. So we've got our DHCP server. This is all pretty self-explanatory. You know how this works. So you can configure a DHCP server for each interface. DNS server. Most cases, you should be fine with this. Initially, no real need to make any changes unless you're doing things like Active Directory integration or maybe Azure. But all the instructions are there on our documents. So that's docs.redpiranha.net for more information. We've got our network settings. Our network settings. This is again pretty straightforward, but we can quickly have a look at what we can create. So everyone can click on the plus sign for our WAN interface. let's not commit any changes. We're just here to look. And we can have a look at the type of interfaces we can create. So we can create a virtual, LAN, PPPoE, and aggregate. So we can set up link aggregation for our Crystal Eye appliances. So that's a new one. So hopefully someone will be pretty excited about that. As you select the type of connection, it's going to change the interface. So you'll have all these details to fill out. What you can do is you can also select the zone. So we can start specifying zone-based access to various interfaces. Ooh, there we go. All right, once you've done looking around, click cancel. Do not click add. Lovely. All right, SSH server. This is just used for for Red Piranha support staff. It can't actually be accessed from outside IP addresses. So it's only from specified IP addresses that can be accessed, which are Red Piranha locations. We've also got our network diagnostic tool. We all know what ping and trace route is good for. And we've actually also just added SD-WAN monitoring as well. So we can have a look at how our VPN connections are faring. All right, routing. Routing is useful in particular with multi-WAN. Multi-WAN is quite easy to set up. So you just simply add the profile, set your weights. The mode is going to be failover. There's also load balancing, which is, yeah, looks like we got that in. That's great. We can start adding interfaces as a part of that part of that profile. So all pretty self-explanatory, but once you've got it set up, it's really just add member and you're done. And it does the routing automatically for you, which is cool. And then of course you've got your static routing, SD-WAN. All right, let's look at WireGuard. Well, before we do that, yes, we have IPsec VPN. Yes, we do SSL VPN. We need to configure security certificates for that. But what we can do is set up a WireGuard connections. Now, we can actually do this right now. So let's go and create a WireGuard connection that'll connect our workstations that we're on right now to our Crystal Eye appliances. So let's get to it. So we'll start by downloading the WireGuard client for Windows. So if you're running Windows, good, well done. If you've got something else, you may need to get the WireGuard client for that operating system from from wherever. So if you're running Linux or Apple, there are WireGuard clients out there that are native and support that system. So what we start off with is the first thing we do is we configure our peers. So we will add a peer. So we'll say CA2 test description. So just any old description will do. The address. Now this is going to be the IP address assigned to the peer when it connects to the network. So in this case, I'm going to call it 10.10.100.1. Yeah, so put that on a different subnet. We generate the public key. Oop, there we go. Everything else is the same. That's good. So once we've created that, we go add. Oh, sorry, my mistake. I put in a dot. Not allowed. There we go. So we've created the peer. Now let's go and create the tunnel. We will add a tunnel. And this one will be CAE underscore tunnel. Any old again. The address. Now this is the address of the WireGuard tunnel on the Crystal Eye appliance. So this will be 10.1 and 10.10, sorry, .100, let's say 254. So effectively the gateway. We generate our private key and we've got our zone. So we can set the zone for this tunnel to be LAN, WAN, DMZ or hot LAN. For this purpose, we are going to say LAN. full tunnel mode. So anyone understand the difference between full tunnel and split tunnel will understand what this means. Full tunnel basically means that everything that the endpoint is accessing goes through the WireGuard tunnel. So we don't split it off at all. So it's yeah, best solution when you're approaching it from a security point of view. And now we can select our peers. Because we've already defined our peer, we can quite happily just grab it from the drop down. There's a Crystal Essentials 2 _ test. Firewall, auto firewall. So this will automatically set up the firewall rules to cater for the WireGuard connection. And there we go. We can just say add, and that's now configured. Now to get your WireGuard end client configured properly, because we still need to download that configuration, we go back to peers and we can now download this config. So we'll call, it'll be the CE tunnel, which we understand. So we'll download that and you save it. Okay. And now, because you've already run and installed your WireGuard client, we can then go to import the file. We'll wander on over to that one there. And you open. It successfully imported the tunnel, the configuration. And now you can select the appropriate tunnel and then click on connect. Now, here's the test. I'm going to activate this WireGuard VPN connection, and hopefully it's not going to clobber my connection to Demio. So here we go. You may need to take over for me for a sec, Samir. Here we go, loading logs. Seems okay.
It looks like Ben has got a bad connection, so he would be joining. But meanwhile, in case if you have got any questions, kindly post it on the chat.
Um,
Here we go. Yeah, Ben is back.
there we go. It worked. So I am now
Yeah.
going back to sharing my entire screen. So hopefully it's not too janky. Now it's bouncing through tunnels, but I've got a lot of faith in WireGuard. It's actually proven to be a very lightweight and fast VPN connection. So as you can see, we are connected. We've got let's check our status. Yep, that's good. Right, and there we go. So now we can go back to our tunnels and we'll see that we're connected. So hopefully everyone else has managed to do the same with their WireGuard connection. Let's see if we can push on. Right, wireless access point. Yes, we do support wireless access points, but that is in Crystal Series 10, 20, and 25 only because they are desktop appliances and they're just meant for small areas. So not intended to cover like large campuses or a large number of users. This is ideally used as an administration tool. Our security configuration, we have got our advanced firewall. So you might notice a little bit of a change now. So the advanced firewall now has this nice little audit report or this visualizer. And we can see now that we've got our connections on the right-hand side, looking at the WAN zone, DMZ LAN, WAN 1, any. But the interesting thing is we can see between WAN and Crystal XDR, we've got, looking at the top, we've got allow _ WGCEE tunnel UDP. So this is proof that it's actually automatically created that firewall rule to allow WireGuard traffic through on that particular port. So you've got a really cool way of visualizing active rules or, just basically active rules for the firewall. You can set your security zones, and this is where you set up your intra-zone traffic. We've got our traffic rules, all pretty self-explanatory. Let's see, there's your WireGuard rule there for the tunnel. Application rules, nothing in there at the moment, but you can add application rules. Again, all the information is in the docs, docs.redpiranha.net. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask them in the forum, or if you get really stuck, support@redpiranha.net. And then you've also got your gateway traffic rules. Force field. We have got our usual fail to ban stuff. We've also got some rules down here as well, just relating to that. If you have a like an engineer or somebody who should be logging in and they've managed to get their username and password wrong 3 times, you can actually unban them in here. So let's say if we've got someone we know who's in Sydney, New South Wales, with that IP address that they should be allowed on, we can then click on allow. I'm not going to, because they're obviously up to something. We've also got our automated actionable intelligence. This is where we manage right now 33,642 banned IPs and 8 ones that we sure are good because they're ours. But you can see here that we're actively managing that IP address list of bad actors. You can force an update if you like by clicking on check for updates. And there we go. It's updated successfully. IDPS. This is where you can start defining rule sets. Let's say if we wanted to add a new profile and we had like a web server on premises and we wanted to set up a web application firewall for that system. So let's say WAF test. And the mode. Let's pop it in inline. Reference rule set. Actually, no, it might just be easier to go here. Yep, default rule set, log events, zone, we'll say put that in the DMZ, for example. It's going to log all the events. We can go add. All right, here's our WAF rule set. We can start playing with the rules now, so we can go in and edit. Hang on a sec. Yeah, so we can edit it. We can turn it on and off. There we go. All right, passive encryption control. This is ideal if you've got IoT devices. So you will assign these devices to a certain group. So this is when we're looking at our network map. You can start categorizing them as IoT devices or whatever it is that help you track them. And then we can start adding profiles and so on. So we've got our map devices here, and you can actually assign them to a profile. So let's say we'll create a profile. That's a default. So let's add a test. And device types. So IoT device, we'll add that. Type is already used. Okay, sorry, my mistake. Since we've already got IoT devices set here, you can only set one profile for a type. All right, we can go and edit that profile. Not much to see here, really. All right, set in secure states. Okay, so once you've got your profiles set, you can actually set a timestamp. So this is done when you got your passive encryption control status set, and then you can let it run for, say, a week. And once you're happy that your IoT devices are all operating normally, you can then set this as a secure state. This is then saved, and any deviation from that baseline is actually alerted or blocked, depending on how you got it configured. Secure Web Gateway. This one's got quite a few controls in it. So you've got your anti-malware, pretty straightforward, anti-phishing, antivirus, application control. This is something I was hoping to get into, but I haven't quite completed the configuration yet. But we can add application control. So let's say demo 2 is a profile, block apps with risk rating none, and we can start going in and start blocking content. So, obviously, let's block adult content, advertising, chat's no fun. Got to get rid of that, and whatever. So you've got a whole bunch of categories you can start blocking. Once you're happy with that, click on Add, and there we go. And then once you're happy with it, you can then application control status, you can just switch it on, and away you go. Web filter. This is also quite useful. I've managed to control a fair bit of content coming in and out of my own network using this. So it does take a bit of configuration, which is why it's not enabled by default. But once you've got it set up and configured, again, docs.redpiranha.net, and we'll also be doing some knowledge sprints on this very soon. Compliance controls. We got DLP. So you can automatically set filters for like your global DLP patterns, credit cards, social security numbers, and also monitoring file movement. This one's interesting. So with monitoring file movement, you can do some fun things like setting sensitive files. And this could be effectively used as deception technology or deception techniques where you have something on your desktop, say call passwords, for example. Don't worry, there's no passwords in it. It is just a empty dummy file. So what we can do is we can add that to our sensitive files list. Our description will be honey file. That's it. Rule action will be alert. You choose the file. The file is on our desktop. Passwords, open, add. Now what it does is it creates a hash for that file, and anytime the crystallize sees that hash being moved, touched, whatever, it will it'll basically alert you, and that will be a clear indication that somebody is poking around where they shouldn't be. Incident response. Incident response, as we've said many times, is actually baked into the whole system. So we've got tools and teams all ready to go. So instead of waiting for, you have an incident and then contacting, one of your big four consultants, and you then got to wait for them to come on out with the systems and the tools needed to do forensic analysis on your network and devices, and then they go back and then come up with a report a few weeks later. We've actually got the tools and everything ready to go on the Crystal appliance, and we can spring into action within minutes, if not maybe hours, but we're pretty quick. It's not going to take days, that's for sure. All right, SIEM events, we've covered this one. Microsoft 365, if you are an M365 user, subscriber, and so on, we can cover compliance for Defender. So we can get those signals coming back, so we can track that, and that'll come back to our SOC. Also M365 risk and compliance, we can track activity for your M365 tenancy, again, monitored by our SOC. Network backup, pretty straightforward. PCAP Snap, this is the packet capture tool. So this is not a network analysis capture tool. This is a security analysis capture tool. So we can schedule just short snapshots of traffic analysis, of traffic for analysis, which makes the whole job a lot easier. So instead of gathering like days of data, we can gather like 5-minute intervals during like a 24-hour or 1-week period. So we can get a good idea on like your average traffic. And this just makes the response so much quicker. Not really meant for end users or partners to use. This is just for when things go sideways, you've got our team ready to go with the tools. Risk auditing. We've had some updates to our risk auditing where you can have a look at your risk assessment. So you start by creating an assessment and you select your frameworks and so on. We're not going to go into this because it's quite in depth, but behind this, we've got Windows CISA. So this is a Crystal Eye attack surface reduction tool, which is why we've abbreviated it to CISA. You can download it directly from the Crystal Eye appliance. and you can then use it to start creating policies, which can then be pushed to systems. Hang on a sec. Yeah, device list not found. All right, so you can use it to push controls aligned with Essential 8, if you like, just by putting ticks in boxes and saying publish. Makes the whole process a lot easier. And then, of course, you get the reporting back on the Crystal appliance. Storage, we understand. Vulnerability scanning. Now, let's say we want to do a vulnerability scan. You can. You just need to schedule it, and it is actually a paid service, but for $600 per scan, that's actually pretty good. These scans are scheduled, they are sent off to our vulnerability server, and then they're assessed by our security operations team. So they will curate the reports, so you get a useful report that's not full of notifications and so on. It's actually quite concise, and I will show you one I've created before. So I did previously a point scan of a single point, just for fun, just to have a look at it. And this is an example of the report you receive. So this is in Orchestrate, and there you go. You got a pretty little readout. You can click on it, get an idea on what's going on. And if needed, you can also export it as a PDF. So this is something that's very useful, especially if you're a partner or an MSP and you've been telling your client, look, you need to get some vulnerabilities sorted out. This is actually a very useful tool for sort of strengthening that argument. All right. Compliance controls, that's done. Reports, we understand, we get it. You got your executive report. If you want, you can go ahead and schedule an executive report. So we'll do things like app status. So just put a tick in that box, and we will set our executive report list. So it will be, say, from the last 30 days, send it monthly. Send time, let's say, just before I get up. Here we go. Email address, and then email address of your executive or whoever's receiving the email. Submit, and there you go. It'll automatically send out that executive report to that individual or group of individuals at that particular time. And the executive report is built from all the other reports we have. So things like app status, disk usage, events notifications, and so on, and so on, and so on. That's reports. Marketplace. Feel free to take some time to just tour through here, get to understand the applications. These are all the applications available for the Crystal appliance right now. And I'm going to leave you to play with that on your own because we are pretty much out of time. And then, of course, support. If you need to get support, there's a few ways you can go about it. So obviously the first port of call is going to be your documentation. So that's docs.redpiranha.net. That's already in chat. You can also go to forum.redpiranha.net. And then, of course, if you really need support, you can contact us by email, which is support@redpiranha.net. If we ever need to access your appliance to do actual remote support, just make sure that you've enabled remote support. So just click on that, and remote support's enabled. And we're able to get into the appliance for a limited amount of time. After the time has expired, this will actually time out and then disable the remote support. It'll also disable remote support on a reboot as well. So just keep that in mind. Okay, that covers it. So I'm just going to quickly go back to our presentation. Let's see if there's anything we need to cover towards the end. All right, so I've covered support services. Oh, and if you want to make any suggestions on how to make Crystal Eye better, just feel free to make those requests through the forum thread. So there is a place where you can put your information. All right, the beta program. Just quickly, we are starting up an external beta program. Is it for you? If you are technically inclined, if you understand what's needed, and if you can express those ideas quite clearly, then we'd love to hear from you. And you join. So the reason why you join is you actually be testing our beta software release. So typically a month or two before it's actually released, you'll be using these features and getting to test them and help us mature these features as they are rolled out to production. If you want any more information, please reach out to your business development manager, and they'll be sure to put you in touch with me, and I'll be happy to work out your access to our beta program as it is developed. Next steps. If you haven't already, and if you want to, you can go ahead and order an NFR appliance. This is for internal use only, not to be put onto customer premises to protect a site. Also undertake your training, so just further your training with selling XDR, also a Crystalline certified engineer, and you can get more content on Red Piranha Sec on YouTube. And upcoming, we've got a knowledge sprint. So this is a part of our monthly knowledge sprint where we'll be covering scenario-based threat hunting. And I'll be joined by Damien Peters for that one. All right, let's throw this open to our team. Sorry, to the floor. If anyone's got any questions, please throw them in. Yeah, is that you?
Yeah, Ben, there is one question from Paul. He
Right.
wants to know how Crystal Eye can help in securing a communication between the user and the AI tools like Copilot.
That's a good one. We may have to. I did a knowledge sprint a week or two ago with, I can't remember who I
Krishna,
did it with. Yeah,
Krishna
Krishan. Yeah,
Kumar.
sorry. Yeah, he did. So we do have a webinar on that, but specifics. Yeah, we need to engage him for some like proper 101. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Raya. So Raya has actually put the securing AI link to that YouTube video. All right. So yeah, we may need to look into that a little further, but yeah, it's something we're very much aware of. We've been doing research into it, and there are ways that it can be secured. It's just I'm not too sure exactly how to do it off the top of my head. That's kind of a little outside of my expertise right now. If anyone's got any other questions, please feel free to put them in. Otherwise, we're a little bit over time. Thank you very much for your patience and for joining us. I'm going to give it about 30 seconds of awkward silence before we call it a day. Thanks for joining us, Mahit. Thank you, David. Thank you, Simon. Okay, well, I think that about does it. Yep, I've just gone almost 15 past the hour, so that is yeah, a good webinar. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll hope to see you again very soon.
Sure. Thank you very much, everyone.